Maybe it's because I'm from the cable generation that my mind has such a nostalgia to go back to a more classical time
A
when there
more
were
innocent
a
time.
more innocent time when there were fewer TV channels brainwashing us all, and really a moment where the country, if not the world, seemed to take a sharp turn for the worse. That moment in history that predated our current decline and really highlighted it in
One of the
all its.
first times that the television trauma-based mind controlled the entire country.
And indeed, this was a time when nearly everyone had access to television if they didn't have it in their home, and there were only three channels, and everyone says they remember where they were on this day. It's,
And
of course,
everyone trusted and believed everything that was coming out of the boob tube.
the assassination of JFK was a pivotal moment, not only because a president was killed, and not only because a shadow government took over and used a huge, big lie that it sold to the public, but because the masses connected with this lie through the television, and it really set up an entire wave, a tidal wave of more lies and false flag events, this new age of so-called CNN syndrome, where events are either created or exploited for their TV and emotional effect.
And don't forget, it was the first live murder on television. All in one, like a pretty package from hell.
Let's go back to the packaging of the lies just for a moment. Here's Walter Cronkite presenting the Warren Commission's findings on CBS.
Oh, isn't he your
The rifle
favorite?
was in a sixth-floor window, a window behind the president. Yet some witnesses believe they heard shots from in front of him. There was what appeared to be a bullet nick in the windshield of the limousine. And Parkland Hospital doctors were quoted as saying they thought at least one bullet entered Mr. Kennedy's neck from the front.
Studiously, scientifically,
We have
the Warren
drawn this
Commission tried
picture
to
of a
answer
guy
The
by the
Warren
window.
Commission
Tried
has
to
drawn an
subtract
official
numerous
scientific
theories.
sketch of Oswald proving that everything they said he
This is
did,
film
he
made
did.
for the Commission
This
to
total evidence picture
reconstruction of
plants
the crime
a
at the
specific
scene.
image in the public's mind, as does this
In
car
this
we
film,
rented to drive down the same route of the
Investigators sat in the
president.
car exactly where the president and the governor.
No, they scientifically
Car
sat
was
in the
driven
car
over
in the
the
same
exact
place as
route
the president and then
at the
turned a
same
corner.
speed. And in the window where
They
the
have
Oswald is set
deliberately
located,
given the
a
public the
cameraman
impression
was
that this was a real investigation when it was a hoax. Here's the Warren Commission pretending to look at different
Chalk
notes
was
and
used to mark the
calculations
spot where the
pertaining
bullet
to the
was
shots of the
Then ran
car
a
and
fire
the
at every
physics of
length
how
and
this could have
angle of every
happened.
possible shot when the window was
In a
measured
way to
exactly.
make it fit the official
FBI,
story.
Secret Service,
Exactly.
and military experts applied their years of training and experience.
Military experts
Measuring
applied
those
years of
shots.
training to put
To
a
sell
tape
the
measure
lie,
next
bottom
to a car.
line. Look, it's a lie. I hope you've faced that by now. But let's just look symbolically back again at that key moment when it all happened, when the lie first crystallized. And I want to take you to the very first CBS flash bulletin that interrupted the soap opera As the World Turns.
And even if this is not, this is just creepy. Let me just say, this is this creeps
Well,
me
first
out.
we're going to listen to the first flash recording and then watch what comes right after it.
A great deal of thought, Grandpa.
So they're interrupting television.
And this
Here
is
is a bulletin
already
from
got the
CBS
public
News.
shook up.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting. More details just arrived.
And there's some fumbling
These
around.
details about the same as previously. President Kennedy shot today just as his motorcade left downtown Dallas. Mrs. Kennedy jumped up and grabbed Mr. Kennedy. She called, "Oh no," the motorcade sped on. United Press says that the wounds for President Kennedy perhaps could be fatal.
Very
Repeating,
dramatic.
a bulletin from CBS News. President Kennedy has been shot by a would-be assassin in Dallas, Texas. Stay tuned to CBS News for further details.
Now tell us if this is a coincidence.
It takes more than an instant to make a real cup of coffee. That's why Nescafe has come up with a new kind of coffee. It's more than an instant. It's new Minute Brew Nescafe. Anybody can make a coffee more instant, but Nescafe makes it more coffee, a new kind of coffee. Minute Brew. Minute Brew Nescafe is a new discovery, a new way to hold in extra rich flavor.
Even the spoon
So
becomes
please
a
help us.
mesmerizing
Let it brew in
pendulum.
the cup a few seconds longer for all that extra flavor to come out. In other words, with Minute Brew Nescafe, it takes a little longer.
Even behind the guy. How ridiculous is that?
And this is just fascinating. It's not proof of anything directly. It's just one of those things that makes you scratch your head and say,
Well, everybody anywhere in their house could hear this, break through. They probably dropped everything they were doing to run into their living room, wherever their television was, to watch what, even though it's just a break-in, you can't see a person talking, they're just breaking through the show, to run in the room and what's going to happen next. They're probably freaking out at that moment. And then the very first thing they're shown is this.
And people who lived through 9/11 through the television know that this was a big event. You remember where you were on 9/11. You remember the sequence of events, how you heard about it.
It's been burned into our collective mind.
Oh, yeah. You remember seeing that footage of the towers collapsing over and over and over as they sold the biggest lies in history since the JFK assassination. And from this moment forward, the act of the pendulum, ironic or telling, you've got the public mesmerized by these flash news reports, manipulated by the media, and goaded on for decades and decades by completely fabricated evidence that came out later in investigations, and they tried to marginalize those people, and there were moments where they got things wrong, but there was a huge coordinated lie in the establishment, and the media was a key part of it. And isn't it just funny that this pendulum shows up at that exact moment? Further ironic, the next flash report did pertain to witnesses saying they thought they saw the shots coming from the grassy knoll, but it's that evidence and other key evidence that's very quickly, hours and minutes after this, swept away. They began to insert the official lie, and before long it becomes the Warren Report, ridiculous as it is, sold to the public as a factual investigation. And you've got to remember another thing about this being a TV mass mind control event. The accused assassin is killed live on TV in the first ever live murder. Of course, we're talking about Oswald shot by Ruby, and they even lied about them having connections. Well, they were connected. We'll get more into the actual evidence of the JFK stuff later, but just think about these telling, powerful, gripping TV moments and what precedents they were.
This is the basement floor of the Dallas City Hall, and that's basement.
And you could see cops
Did
moving
you see
people
that
out
guy?
of the way.
Yeah, let's show him that guy. Here, wait, pause it. See this guy in the hat that's right here in the front, in the middle, that's walking down? Watch his reaction. Watch what he does.
This is the basement floor of the Dallas City Hall.
Well,
I didn't even really act all
the
that
bottom
surprised.
line is the cops worked with the mafia in Dallas, especially in those days, and there was a big shadow government thing going on with Ruby connected to government people from Nixon to the CIA crowd. Oswald was an FBI informant who was also working inside the CIA, and basically they burned him as a patsy, but the public was told otherwise. And what a fantastic television production, gripping everyone in the nation and getting them at least for a time to swallow these lies. I mean, we think about 9/11 truth today. How slowly must those steps have come out in the days of JFK, and how brave were those people who did speak out? Many of the witnesses killed in that case. But, I mean, your comments?
Oh, I just think it's amazing how the use of television over the decades has gotten more and more hypnotizing. And I won't say that it all started with this event, but this was a huge event that collectively traumatized America.
Oh, yeah.
And the television was a huge part of that happening. And when people watched it, they looked to this as an authoritative source for information. What was on it was true, basically.
And people didn't consciously know it at the time, but elements of the shadow government, illegitimate powers, took power, and by demonstrating their lies on the TV, people passively accepted it, and from this moment on began to think of things in terms of the way they're presented. They become pawns of the establishment.
I mean, the television has a way to bring everybody together on this kind of stuff. I mean, it's been called the Babylonian language because you don't need to speak the same language to watch moving images, and it connects everybody all over the world through the television. So think about that and what they were doing with this event and going through this evidence as if it's real and true and legitimate, and everything they're saying is just rock solid truth. And then you see that commercial, and it's just, what, that has got to be the greatest coincidence of all time.
There it is. The pendulum in the coffee commercial.
The first commercial after they announced that JFK's been shot.
With a new kind of coffee, it's more than an instant. It's new.
And now believe everything you're told. Anyway, we just want to make that illustration, and we're going to be talking more about technology, what it means in our life, the effect of television, and where the system's going, and what their lives really are.
And also more reports on JFK this year.
Yeah, it is the 50th
For the
anniversary. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.